Alright everybody, welcome to High Heat. This is the first official episode, and we're actually going to be making something that's really easy to make and really cheap. And the best part is, there's really no work. You're basically going to be putting it in a crock pot. And what we're making today is barbecue pork, mac and cheese. And what we're going to do is we're going to slow cook the pork in this crock pot here, which I highly recommend, for about 8 hours on low. And then we're going to cook the mac and cheese later when it's about almost done, and then we're going to combine it together and it's going to be delicious. So here's what we're going to need. First of all, we're going to need a crock pot. I highly recommend a crock pot. You can use a slow cooker obviously, but not everybody has that. And you're going to need some pork. You can get some regular pork, but just any type of pork will do, other than maybe pork chops, although I've used it before and it works pretty good. I'm using this Kingsford boneless pork ribs. I've used it before and I'm a big fan. It works pretty dang good, and it's really good sizing of the meat. You need this little guy to move it around. You're gonna need Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. You can use any barbecue sauce you want, but this barbecue sauce is not only my favorite, but I think it works the best for this dish. It's a little more pricey than the original store brand, but if you get this, you won't be disappointed, I promise. We're going to be seasoning the pork itself with this barbecue rub. You can use barbecue seasoning, you can use a different type of rub. As long as it's barbecue flavor, that's what you need. You can obviously play around with different rubs, but I've used this and I'm a big fan. It's just an original barbecue rub. You can get some more fancy ones if you want. Chicken broth. Now this looks like a lot, you only need a little, because all we're going to do is cover the bottom of the crock pot with the chicken broth so that the meat doesn't burn on the bottom. We're going to need some milk and butter for the mac and cheese here. We're also going to need some water to boil the macaroni itself, but again, you don't have to worry about that till later, because you don't want to make the mac and cheese too early. You want to make it right before this guy's done so that you can mix it all together and it's all warm and good. And then this is an optional thing, but I highly recommend it. You notice I have some barbecue chips. What we're going to be doing is when it's all done, it's all mixed together, we're going to crush some of these guys up and sprinkle them on top. And trust me, if you've never done that before, it makes all the difference. So that is what we're going to be doing today. We're first going to put some chicken broth in here, and then we're going to rub our meat with the barbecue rub. And we're going to put it all in the crock pot, and we're going to get this thing going. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pour some chicken broth. Not too much. We're just going to cover the bottom here, and we're just going to do that so that the meat doesn't stick and burn to the bottom. So now I'm going to be seasoning our meat right here with our seasoning, or rub I should say. And feel free to be generous. I mean, just remember that we're also going to be putting barbecue sauce on top here. And these are already have some barbecue sauce on it. And I'm going to do both sides. Okay, now we're going to season the other side. Give everybody some love here because this seasoning is going to cook in the meat. You want it crispy on the outside, but tender and pull apart on the inside. So now the meat is all seasoned and it's ready to go in the crock pot. I'm going to go ahead and take each piece and put it in the crock pot. Okay, we're going to go ahead and now put our barbecue sauce on top. Of course, we're using Sweet Baby Ray's. We're just going to drizzle it on top, and again, be generous because you want this to be barbecue saucy. We're going to put the lid on top. And we're going to go ahead and turn this guy on low. And again, we're going to cook this for 8 hours. So don't be tempted to put it on high. Just let it do its thing for 8 hours. And it'll be amazing. We're going to make the mac and cheese now because the barbecue pork is almost done. By the time we finish cooking this, the barbecue pork will be fully done. And that way we can mix it together and we'll do a little taste test for you. Alright, we're going to pour in 6 cups of water. Before I boil the water, I always salt the water. I've always kind of believed it helps the water boil a little faster. I don't know if that's true or not, but I always do it. And it adds a little taste. Alright, we're going to put this water to a boil. We're going to wait for that to boil. Then we're going to put the noodles in. Okay, we're going to do the mac and cheese now. The water's boiling, so we're going to go ahead and throw this guy in here. Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and stir the macaroni. The reason you want to stir it once you pour it in is because if you don't, it's all going to stick together, and you don't want that. About every minute or so, you're going to want to give it a quick little stir. We are going to be boiling this for about 8 minutes, so again, maybe about every minute, you can give it a little stir. Okay, we're going to drain the noodles because they're ready. They're all boiled up. So we're going to carefully pour this in. I say carefully because if you do too fast, all the steam will come up right in your face, and yeah, you can fill in the blanks about what you will say after that. Alright, we're going to throw in 4 tablespoons of butter. Then we're going to add 1/4 cup of milk. Now we're going to add our macaroni that we drained. When you're at this point, you're going to want to turn this stove on very low, like almost as low as possible. Because we want the butter to melt, but we also don't want to keep cooking the macaroni. We're just going to move the butter around until everybody gets coated. We're going to move the milk around as well. It's only going to take a few minutes until the butter is completely softened. Once you have all the wet ingredients in there with the macaroni, we're going to go ahead and put in our cheese. Cheese packet that comes in the box. Spread it around. And then the same thing, we're just going to mix it all together, give everybody some cheese, give everybody some butter. And in about a minute, this is going to be looking really good. Okay guys, the moment of truth is here. The barbecue pork has been cooking for 8 hours on low. We're going to open the lid, and we're going to take 2 forks and pull it together to really determine how tender it is and how well done it is. So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's take this lid off. Oh wow. The smell is absolutely amazing. And to me it looks pretty good. Let's do a final test. Going to use these 2 forks, and we're going to pull it together just like pulled pork. Okay, it's coming off really easily, which is a good sign. That means it's tender in the middle. You don't want to have big chunks of the meat, especially if you're making it for a group of people, because you're going to want some meat and macaroni in each bite. So feel free to just pull it together as much as you want. If you're making this by yourself and it's only for you, feel free to leave in big chunks. That's never a bad thing. Specifically, if you're making this for a group of people, I will just pull it together really well so that every bite gets a little bit of goodness. And now we're gonna mix it. So we're gonna mix this together. Ooh, this already looks amazing. So you want the barbecue sauce to basically kind of glue all of the macaroni together. That's why you don't want to use too little barbecue sauce. But you also don't want to use too much because you don't want basically a soup. And once you get everybody some love, make sure basically every piece gets a little bit of barbecue sauce. And then the meat's just going to fold right in. I mean, if you take a look at this, almost every piece is going to have some sort of meat. I can tell you right now, this is one of the best smelling things you could ever make. We're going to put some barbecue chips in this bag. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to close the bag up, get all the air out, and we're going to crush the chips. This is completely optional. This is just a little something extra I like to do, and we're going to just sprinkle this on. It's going to add a nice barbecue crunchy taste. Mix this together, and trust me, it is worth it. You hear that crunch, folks? That is what you want. Each bite is going to have every one of these ingredients inside, and this is ready to eat. Okay guys, the moment of truth is here. It's been a long time, 8 hours, but It's absolutely worth it. We're gonna do the grand old taste test here. I'm gonna try to get a bite of everything here. I'm gonna get macaroni, some beef, and some potato chip. This looks like a good bite to me. You gotta plan your bite. You gotta know where you're gonna go. So, cheers. A little hot, but wow. I'm telling you, the Sweet Baby Ray's makes a big difference. You could use a regular cheap barbecue sauce. You can make your own barbecue sauce. But I'm telling you, if you don't use Sweet Baby Ray's, you're missing out. The pork is cooked perfectly. I mean, 8 hours is perfect. No more, no less. I actually checked on it at about the 7-hour mark, and I wasn't fully there, so I let it go for another hour, and I'm glad I did. Because this pork is very tender on the inside. The barbecue sauce is almost all over it. Like, every single bite has some barbecue sauce on it. And the macaroni's cooked perfectly. And the potato chips, guys, I told you it was optional. I don't think it should be. I think it should be mandatory. If you try this, I think you would agree. Also, this will last you a few days if you're just making it for yourself. But you should make this for parties. You should make this for family events. Everybody's gonna ask you for the recipe, and I think they'll be pretty surprised at how easy this is to make. So, with that being said, I'm gonna continue to eat this, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.